Well, it's my pleasure to introduce you today to Dr. CK Taneja, my guest for the Fresh Agile Voices series. And I've known CK for almost exactly 2 years. We met at the Agile Coaching Summit in Chicago in 2018. And the very first thing that struck me about him was his appearance. He's a little bit like a James Bond character, and he's always very smartly dressed, very dapper. Not today, but typically he has a kerchief in his pocket and he extremely well-groomed appearance. But appearance aside, the second thing I noticed was how carefully CK chose his words when he spoke and just the wisdom that he was able to share. And I remember saying to myself, I've got to work with this guy. And within 2 months, I think it was, we were working together. So anyway, welcome, CK. Why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born and where you grew up.
Thank you, Anthony, for inviting me onto your show. It's a pleasure working with you, first in the work and now here in the show. So I was born in India, a very small village. That's where I was born. And then I grew up in different parts of India and started working overseas. I have lived in about 17 countries.
Oh my gosh,
And
that's a lot.
Yes, it is.
So where did you end up starting your career? And did you start in technology or as a developer, or where, how did you work your way into Agile coaching? But let's start with your first job.
So first job would be very difficult. In my 7th grade, I started my first job as repairing bicycles. I was not good at education as an academic. So my father thought that if I did some skills, that would help me. So I started up as a bicycle repair person, then moved into motorbike repairs, started working in, by the time I got to my 11th grade or high school, I was working in a factory manufacturing TVs. And
wow.
So, then I helped running a factory of manufacturing PVC pipes that my uncle had, and then moved into hardware, door-to-door computer repairs, and then into a COBOL programmer.
Oh my gosh, that's quite a circuitous path.
Yeah. So, but all of that actually helped me because, and I think the work in the manufacturing and technology, working in the bicycle repair shop where people come to you because they don't have money to repair their bicycles, that otherwise they would go and get the new one, and you're fixing things. So you learn how to cut corners, find the easier ways, understand the customer, what they want within their budget, and do things. And that kind of helped me get into the agile way of thinking, which is what we call, and which has been there for long.
Wow, that's awesome. And how did you go from there into becoming an Agile coach? So COBOL programmer, coaching.
So coaching came much later, but Agile came into my life in about 1997 timeframe. Of course, I didn't know about Agile. What I knew about at that time was Lean. And I had read a book. So I was working with Singapore Telecoms, and we had 2 projects which had been a total failure. One project, 300 people working on it for 2 years. But at that time, I was the British Telecom employee working at Singapore Telecom. And after 2 years, the project did not deliver what it was supposed to, and we were moved out. Yeah. Later on, I was a Singtel employee 6 years later, and Singapore Telecom employee. We had hired a company to deliver a software, and they delivered a software after 1.5 years, and that could not sustain itself. So, and that was the time when we were having competition. So company asked me, what are we going to do? And I said that probably we need to bring in lean thinking, because I had read a book on Toyota production, TPM, and I said that they follow lean, and we are probably introducing waste. The organization changes quickly, environment changes quickly. We need to probably develop software faster and see some things. I had not heard of Agile. I had not done anything. We didn't do stand-ups, but basically we started giving more power to the team members and building the team.
Wow.
That worked well. 1999, I came to US, my entry into the US, and I was working with a software company in Champaign, Illinois. We were doing telecom billing for various companies. Again, started adopting the same methodology of waste cutting. And in about end of 99, I started my own company. And slowly I started realizing that I was less of a doer. I had enjoyed doing the things a lot, but it was coming to what I was doing was helping others develop. So maybe coaching was the way to go. And because all through my career, I was developing people to become better of themselves. So in about 2008, after doing multiple startups, selling off the companies and going through the process, I decided I'm no longer going to be driving. I'm going to be sitting aside and letting people grow, help them grow. And so that I got into teaching, education, mentoring,
Mhm.
and coaching.
Wow, it's quite a journey. Um,
Yes.
Somewhere in there, you got your PhD, correct?
Yes, I did. Third attempt of PhD. I tried it 3 times because I wanted to be a doctor. So as a child, I used to write my name as Dr. CK.
Wow.
But I could not be a medicine doctor because studies-wise I was not good. So opted PhD. And yes, in 1999 is when I completed my PhD.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the obstacles or challenges that you face. Obviously, you weren't born in the US. You're a person of color. You're a non-native English speaker. I imagine you probably speak more than one language or more than two languages, right?
Yes, I do.
And and so working as an agile coach in the US, what are some challenges or obstacles that you might be facing, that things that I would have taken for granted?
One of the challenge or the only challenge is when you apply for a job, because the recruiters want to know that are you somebody who has worked in the US? Are you from the US background and those things? Just because it is taken for granted that if you are not from here, you may have some visa challenges or you may have the problems with language or things like that. But whenever I've gone into the one work environment, I have not seen any problems there. And I think that is because once you demonstrate your knowledge, you are accepted. And
Mm-hmm.
currently in the American world, when I go around, most of these companies have so much diversity in the culture, in the gender. I don't see that now it is like 20 years ago when I came in. Yes, it was a very different environment. And probably I was forced at that time. I did not fell into the trap is that you have to learn the American style of speaking or have to speak about the soccer, not about soccer, and we used to talk about soccer, but talk
Sure.
about American football and
Sure.
how things are baseball. But now that is not the case. I think things have changed in 20 years. I do hear people talking about the differentiation that they see now also. Maybe I compare it to 20 years ago when I came in or 21 years ago. I don't see that anymore.
So that's great that at least from your perspective, things are getting better.
Oh, definitely. It has improved a lot.
So what advice would you give to other people who are interested in becoming an agile coach? What tips or advice would you have for them?
So I think it's about any coaching is about two things. One is the subject matter, where you have a variety of agile frameworks and a variety of environments. So having knowledge of each one of them. I find when I work in the industry, many people come knowing only one framework,
Hmm.
and they think that that is the framework to be applied to the organization, which makes it tougher because the organization may not be ready. or maybe one framework may be better than the other framework, or a hybrid may be better for the organization. So having more tools in your toolbox and knowing how to use your tools is probably something that one major aspect of coaching. The other aspect of coaching is about people, because when we go out and coach, we are coaching the people, and these individuals can be categorized into various different backgrounds and processes, and they have their own experiences that they have come through. So you are not going to change them overnight, and we are not there to change them. We are there to help them evolve. So having empathy towards them, having the competencies to excite them, to make them feel safe, and move from their existing style of working to the newer style of working, helping them unlearn, relearn, and act on what they have learned on. How to help them appreciate what they will be moving towards, or little steps of success, rather than thinking about everybody will move at the same pace, everybody would get perfection, are the things that one has to take care of. So I think it is the coaching competency, the human relations part of it, and the agile knowledge of all different frameworks.
CK, thank you so much for your time today. How can people get a hold of you if they want to just connect with you, have a conversation, or if they want to work with you? What would be the best way to get in touch with you?
LinkedIn is the best place. My profile is CK Taneja there. Or I can be reached by email, coachck@cktaneja.com.
That's awesome. CK, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to working with you again and learning from you and just having the chance to spend time together.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.